Sarah was alone in her rural farmhouse when she heard footsteps outside her bedroom window around midnight. At first, she dismissed it as an animal, but then she heard faint whispers and scraping against the window. Trembling, she peeked through the blinds to see a figure standing motionless, staring right at her with empty eyes. The figure didn't move until sunrise, disappearing as if it were never there. When she called the police, they found no evidence of anyone. But ever since that night, Sarah feels watched whenever she's home alone, the footsteps echoing just past midnight, like a warning that he may return. Jake and his friends were driving home late at night when they saw a girl standing alone by the side of the road. Thinking she needed help, they pulled over, but when Jake opened the door, the girl vanished without a trace. Confused, they continued driving, only to see her standing by the road again a few miles later. Each time they passed, she seemed closer to the car. Finally, they sped away. And when they reached home, Jake felt a chill as he saw a faint handprint on his window, a mark that wouldn't fade for days. Traveling cross-country, Tom checked into a small roadside motel for the night. Around 2 a.m., he woke to the sound of his door creaking open. A shadowy figure drifted into the room, standing at the foot of his bed, its face a blur. Paralyzed with fear, he watched as it pointed at the mirror where a message had appeared in the condensation. "Don't look back." The figure vanished, and Tom fled the room. Later, he learned that someone had been murdered in that very room years before, and every guest since had reported strange occurrences. In a small town park, late-night joggers started noticing a woman sitting on an old park bench around 3 a.m. She would sit still, dressed in vintage clothing, looking at the ground. One night, a curious jogger approached her, but she disappeared when he got close. Since then, people report seeing her more often, each time in a different spot, as if she's searching for something. Locals believe she was a woman who vanished years ago, waiting eternally on that bench for someone who never arrived. A man in an apartment complex began feeling watched each night around 3 a.m. Strange, untraceable knocking sounds and soft tapping on his windows became routine. One night, he mustered the courage to peek outside, only to see a pale figure standing under a street lamp across the courtyard, staring directly at his window. The next night, the figure was closer, but he could never see its face. After a week, the figure disappeared, leaving only a single, faint footprint outside his window, which has since become a permanent mark.